Hi guys, welcome to the Inner Circle. As you can see, I'm your host Scrivo, and today I'm not on my own. So I have formed part of the 6++ Inner Circle of Space Marine players for quite some time, and finally, my buddy Ben is on the show. And not just for any old reason, it's because he had a fantastic run at the London GT last weekend, and I'm going to run through with him what his list was, quite unusual, what it did, and the actual run he had as well, because I think it's really interesting to see what matchups it went into, which ones it avoided, and obviously how it kind of behaved on the UKTC format terrain. So, how you doing, Ben?
I'm good. Just about got over the cold that always seems to follow a 3 or 4 day event.
Everyone's been saying all week, like, I've got a sore throat and sniffles. I'm like, yeah, well, what do you expect when there's like just under 2,000 people in one giant venue? It's just like, doesn't surprise me. It's like, just drink the orange juice, hydrate.
The lem sips have been done. It's fine.
Nice. Cool. Right, should we go straight into the list, I guess? Because that's the juicy bit to me. Because if you'd said to me when I was prepping my list, why don't you just take all bikes? I would have gone, are you mad?
It's not all bikes. Only a third of the list is bikes.
Yeah. Right, so here we go. And this is the spicy bit. Company of Hunters, mate. So what does it do and why did you take it?
So Company of Hunters is great for a vehicle or shooting heavy list, and then it works really well with the bikes as well, I've found. So I do have to give a little shout out to, I think it's James Walsh over in the States. So I saw him piloting a similar list on War Games Live going back probably a month or two.
Yeah.
Apologies if I've got your name wrong, James, but I believe that is you. I think I've seen you on the Facebook group. But yeah, the triple command squads with outriders, they make those quite beefy units, quite hard to remove. You can use them to sort of jail your opponent in, and then just all the shooting in the world behind them, as much as you can shoehorn into the list. So it starts with a combi lieutenant. He usually sits near the middle. It is sort of in that useful little place you can usually get on UKTC, where you're an inch off the central L wall, but you're within 6 of the centre. So if they pull turn 1 area denial, they have to think about what they're going to put out. Otherwise, they're only getting 2 points, and hopefully makes them commit something a little bit bigger than they might have done. And then we've got the 3 Ravenwing command squads. So first one has Master of Maneuver, and the enhancements are really what make this list work with the bikes, I think. So Master Maneuver is the one where you can come in from strategic reserves a turn early. Effectively, you count the battle round as one higher. So you can bring in from strat reserves turn 1. And you can also rapid ingress turn 1. Because if you check, I believe it's the Hunter's Instincts enhancement in Stormlance. It is exactly the same wording on the enhancement. And there is a specific FAQ that says, yes, you can turn 1 rapid ingress. If I've played it wrong, I apologise in advance. But I do believe that is the right way to play it.
It's not one that's come up for me, so I'd be curious to see if...
Well, it's also one I've seen in the new Raven Guard detachment, the Shadowmark Talon, that I am also flirting with. They have, again, same wording, and I've watched John Lennon rapid ingress turn 1 using it, so I'm assuming he knows what he's doing. So if we've all got it wrong, I apologise. I think it's right. But it just means that you've got 18 bikes, they take up a lot of real estate. Now all of a sudden you've got 6 of them off the board, but they are available turn 1 if you get pushed. Especially with the rapid ingress, if your opponent goes first, if they push up hard into you, you can afford to sit a little bit further back, knowing that if they sit back, you rapid ingress into a safe spot and you can still get to a couple of mid-board objectives with that unit. It just means that you can keep the 2 that start on the board that bit further back. The second one then, as you can see, has Recon Hunter, so that gives that unit a Scout 9. So that usually means that unit gets deployed on the line. Depend on the different UKTC maps, there's usually a little pocket where you can deploy on the line, and with a 9-inch scout move, if you don't go first, you can pull yourself back behind one of the big L's or something along those lines and just keep yourself nice and safe. Or if you go first, you can say, cool, you don't get to leave your deployment zone this turn.
I love that. That's the best.
So in this detachment, you've got the command squad gives you +1 to advance and charge anyway. You've got the 9-inch scout move, and I should explain exactly what Company of Hunters does. So Company of Hunters means that your entire army can advance and fall back and shoot. Anything in your army. No keyword restrictions, just anything. Nice. And then bikes specifically can advance or fall back and charge as well. So turn 1, that squad can move 9 inches on its scout move. Then it moves 12, so we're up to 21. Plus a minimum advance of 2, even if you roll a 1 with the champions +1. So you are going 23 to 28 inches turn 1 and can still shoot and charge. It has caused so many opponents such a headache because, one, nobody else seems to really do this. Usually it's you can launch a combat unit forwards, but to be able to shoot and charge really changes the maths for a few people, I think. So yeah, people are not expecting it, and it makes them make some errors in deployment when they're not expecting it.
Because it feels safer, right? Because normally they're like, threat ranges, even if you say that threat range, they're like, yeah, they're bikes. You're not going to get that angle, perhaps, because you've got to maneuver them a bit more kind of cautiously.
Yeah, it's one thing I think you definitely need to do is practice moving bikes. At UKTC with the new maps is a lot more forgiving, I find, with the sort of 9x3 rectangles. As long as you aren't clipping the corners, you can move bikes through that. So that's the one that I tend to try and hide them behind and then push out through that. But yeah, so they work really well. Then there's a third squad. I'll talk about changes I'm going to make later, but that squad has got a bit of a question mark next to it for me. In that I like the first two with the enhancements. I think the third one is maybe something I might do something different with. But I want to do some testing because there is always that thing of actually you need a critical mass of the same sort of threat, and by dropping one of them, maybe I lose that. So I do want to play around with it. And they just start tucked behind usually one of the big L's and absolutely safe, not getting charged first turn. If it helps, they are also my warlord, but I don't think anyone cares about warlords now they've changed Imperial Knights. I think that was the last thing. Then you've got behind the bikes, you've got 3 units of 3 Grav Centurions. So these guys have got the chest missiles as well as the Grav. I usually start 2 of these off the board in strat reserves because even though they can advance and shoot in the detachment, they're not quick. And what I usually try and do is drop them in somewhere on a good long line of sight angle. So if for those of you who know UKTC, if we're thinking like Crucible of Battle, I usually want to drop them sort of in that top left corner, and then they can fire down across the angle into all 3 of the midfield objectives. Or similarly at the bottom right corner, and they can fire back up the same angle. And they give you there's still quite a lot of knights in the meta at the moment. I think it was something like, was it Chaos and Imperial were 8% of the meta each, so it's like 1 in 6 lists had knights of some sort in. And then even when there aren't knights, there's got Space Marines are looking at Repulsor Executioners a lot at the moment, Storm Ravens, all these kind of things where anti-vehicle 2 up flat 3 damage is quite nice. Though I don't think there are any games I regretted having them, and the missiles can become a little bit of a comedy thing when so maybe spoils it later, but at least one of the games I played into a 20-man Crusader Blood Brick and explaining to your opponent that, by the way, these missiles are like crack missiles but with blast, and here's 27 shots out of a unit because you've got 20 models. And you're touching an objective, so they re-roll all their hits. And just sort of watch the light fade in their eyes when they realise that this is really going to sting.
Love it.
And then you need a little bit of trash. So I've got 5 scouts and an Invader ATV. So the Invader ATV was usually used to hold my home objective. In this detachment, you can stick your objectives with bikes. So it was one where you could sort of stick him behind the little L that usually holds your home ruin. And then on turn 3, what I usually often do is sort of advance him around the corner so he's now in front and sticky it, just in case they do pull an angle. And then turn 4-5, he can zip off and try and do a secondary, because I'm usually a little bit thinner on assets at that point.
Yeah.
And scouts usually hold the expansion objective. With the pre-game, one of those where you can either go a little bit ahead of it and then scout backwards to try and push enemy scout moves back, or if you're playing against JPIs, things like that, start 7-8 inches behind the objective and then just scout forwards if you get the first turn. And then 3 Predator Destructors. This was an element of I debated long and hard on this one. So originally, in James's version of the list, you've got 3 Ballista Dreads, rather than the Predators. Obviously, they went up in the recent balanced data slate, and I've got so little trash in this list that there wasn't really anything I could cut.
Yes, quite a lean list.
It's very lean. Again, maybe changing that 3rd bike squad is where you can maybe find some points, I think. So it was a case of, okay, I originally swapped them for Predator Annihilators, but my concern was I've already got good anti-tank between the Centurions and the Hammer Strikes, so I'm actually feeling okay for dealing with vehicles, and that proved to be okay. So I decided, let's go Destructors, because I know if I take Annihilators, I'm going to play into 120 Orcs or 150 AdMech bodies or something, and shooting a one-wound dude with a las cannon is always going to feel bad.
Yeah.
Even
those autocannons as an anti-tank option, if you just need to get a few wounds through, they're not a struggle, right? But being strength 9 is helpful, right, as well.
Yeah, so well, I'll talk about it a little bit when we go through the matchups. But the things that they loved shooting at were Gravis Deathwatch bodies, Grey Knight Terminators, Beasts of Nurgle. Obviously, they're T9. The -1 AP isn't an issue because it's a demon; it doesn't have an armor save. So yeah, there were usually targets to go after, and then you've still got the 3 Hunter Killers between the 3, the 6 las cannons. So you've still got tank popping ability there.
Yeah.
And then the Hammer Strikes are also sort of a little bit key to how the list works, because obviously the grav on the Centurions is only AP1.
Yeah.
A lot of the bigger knights and things, they're always going to be able to have a toe in cover, or could help you if it's a Rogal Dawn or something like that. It's like you absolutely need to take cover off that, because 2-up saves make your grav feel very, very sad. So yeah, the Hammer Strikes are purely in there to strip cover. They're also like 7 shots at strength 9 with AP and multiple damage, so it's not that they don't do anything as well. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the Hammer Strike, so I think they'll be staying in the future iterations of the list. Certainly one will to go with the Centurions, and then I'd like to try and keep 2, I think.
Cool. So what was match 1 for you? Because this is obviously the most... it could be you're playing an absolute newbie, or you could be playing someone that's kind of in the run to potentially take out the event. Were you quite lucky in that respect?
I think so. So I played Alex Hopper round 1. He's one of the guys from Boltstorm Wargaming. I'll give them a little bit of a shout out, I guess. They're over in Leek, if you're in the sort of upper Midlands. Yeah. I've been over to one of their RTTs before now, and cheekily went and podiumed. But yeah, lovely shop. Highly recommend people stopping in. So Alex had taken Plague Legion Nurgle Demons, and there were 3 big chunky boys, 2 Great Unclean Ones, and Rotigus, which had me a little bit concerned, because again, if you look at that list, they've got a lot of strength 9, a lot of strength 6, not a lot that deals with toughness 13. Because they all get that +1 toughness aura, and they're all within range of each other. So I was a little bit nervous about that. He had 3 units of 2 beasts, 3 units of 10 plague bearers. Each of the plague bearers had a character. One had Epidemius, one had Sloppity Bile Piper, with the enhancement that basically, if you fail Battle Shock, instead of taking D3 mortal wounds, you just lose a model.
Oh, and for your bikes, that's
for bikes with 4 wounds, it's like, that stings a bit.
Yeah.
He had a Poxbringer with the 3rd one. He had a Changeling to hold his home objective, 3 of the flying plague drones, and a unit of 6 Nurglings to just sort of screen out the midboard. So when I had a little sort of a sit down and think about this, because obviously you get round 1 a few days ahead, so you can start to think of it. I always encourage anyone else that I'm going to events with, don't overthink it, because there's a decent odds they just won't turn up. So don't worry if it's a horrible matchup. But if it one like this where it felt winnable, but how am I going to do it? What I didn't want to see was 1 Great Unclean One on each objective with stuff around it to help bolster the OC, because I thought that's going to be quite difficult to get through. What I think Alex played into my hands a little bit, in that so one of the Great Unclean Ones has an 18-inch lone op aura, so similar to what Bellacorp gives normal Chaos Demons, and he sort of grouped up the Great Unclean Ones to all be in range of that all the time, and he pushed all 3 towards the middle of my expansion objective. So I used the rapid ingress bike, so he went first as well, which was not ideal. My plan had been go first, jail him in. The Great Unclean Ones can move through terrain with a strat in that detachment, but they can't move through models, and just jail him into his deployment zone, and that'll be great. He goes first. All the beasts scout up. He's touching all 3 of the middle objectives. He's terraformed all 3 of the. No, he didn't get onto my expansion that turn. The beasts didn't want to expose and just sit out in front of my army, which is fair enough. But he's terraformed 2 of the middles. There's beasts on everything. There's Great Unclean Ones pushing up. but then I'm able to rapid ingress a unit of bikes onto the left-hand side towards his expansion that only has 2 beasts, and it didn't put any plague bearers on that because I think he realised the rapid was probably coming, so he kept Epidemius and the plague bearers back on that side behind the ruin. So it meant that all I had to do was kill 4 beasts of Nurgle to deny him most of the primary.
Gosh.
Which, don't forget, these beasts of Nurgle, if you don't kill them dead in the phase, they just gain all their wounds back. So there were a couple of tense moments where it's like, am I going to get all the way down to 0, or is he going to gain 6 of his 7 wounds back and make me feel sad? But yeah, I think the unit in the middle would have been a problem, but the hammer strike popped off, hit with everything, wounded with everything, and just picked up 2 beasts on its own, which was nice for me. Used one of the hammer strikes because obviously demons don't have the armor save. It's all invuln saves. The hammer strikes were less key in this matchup, so I used them to move block the Great Unclean Ones, so they couldn't get to my bikes that were hiding behind. One of them could by using the move through the wall strat, but they couldn't get multiple through, and one on its own shouldn't kill a unit of bikes. Rotigus with his +1 damage buff is the spicy option there, so I was trying to make sure it wasn't him.
Yeah, he's not,
because he goes to flat damage 4, and he's got lethal hits, and he's strength 10, and it's just bad for me. So basically what ended up happening was that I just focused on killing everything that wasn't a Great Unclean One. So by the end of the game, he actually managed to get a Great Unclean One onto my objective on his turn 5, but I was able to get one of the command squads back on with OC 9 with the command squads, because obviously Ancient makes them 3 each, just to take that one back and score that one. But by that point, I held 2 at the middle, and I'd also stolen his home. The Changeling tried to stop me shooting him and rolled a 1, so that ability doesn't work. So it just got plasma straight down the barrel. You've given me the opportunity. I'm going to take it, because there's also it was one of those I could either shoot him and charge the Plague Bearers, or shoot the Plague Bearers and charge him. And I thought the problem is if I charge him, he can also make me not able to fight him in the combat phase, and I really don't want that to happen. So if there's an option to kill him, I'll just do it now, and we'll deal with Plague Bearers later. And
if you don't kill him in the combat, you probably lose a lot more stuff, whilst Plague Bearers hitting you back isn't quite as scary, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that was a nice way to start the event. Alex was an absolute gent. We talked about what our goals going in were to the event, and I think he'd said he was happy as long as he got 3 and 2. Whereas I'd gone in with I want 4 wins. I want to hit 4 wins, and I had a little thought in the back of my head of maybe I could do the 5, because I'd played a lot of reps with this list. I probably had about 30 reps on TTS, and I'd lost a couple of them, don't get me wrong, but majority were wins. I'd taken it to a local RTT in Just Play in Liverpool, my local store. So, yes, lovely place. And Richie, who runs the store there, he runs the AOS Justice series. Yeah. So he did pop over in round 6 to say hello before he disappeared.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so I'd gone to the RTT there. I'd managed to go 3-0 and win that one. And then I'd also decided that was the only 3 tabletop games I'd done with the list. And I'd mentioned, I think, how you move the bikes is quite key. Like being able to sort of maximise the 1-inch pivots that you get on the oval bases and things like that. Really, really need to lean into that to get the most out of it. So I'd signed up for the RTT at London on the Friday. So I'd come down early, played 3 extra games on Friday before the fight.
So 9 games you did, potentially.
So I did not, so technically that means I went 8-1 at London. That's all I'm going to say. Because I did manage to go 3-0 in the RTT and win that one as well. But yeah, so I felt pretty good going into it. So it was the first time I'd gone to an event, and I know that if you go 5-0, there's the top cut and you play these extra games. It's the first time I'd sort of lined my wife up and said, look, there's a chance I might stay late and play some extra games. I'll let you know how it's looking as we go. And then so after each round I was like, yeah, I'm still in it.
Did she have that kind of thing where she was like, I really want you to succeed, but I also want you to come home so I can spend some time with you? Was that kind of weird and
so thankfully I'd booked the Monday off anyway, especially for any sort of multiple day event, whether it's London or Coventry next month. I've booked the Monday off. I'm in the fortunate position that I don't usually work Fridays as well, so I've got travel time.
Dream.
Yeah, 4 long days instead. But yeah, so I'd travelled down early on the Friday, and then I just decided, right, okay, if I'm staying for round 6, I've already missed my train home, because my train home was booked for 7:30, so the round ran till 8.
Gosh.
So I wasn't across to Euston for that. So I booked the same checked back into the same hotel I'd checked out of that morning. But just, you know what, travelling home on the Monday, I think I'm just going to do that in future for London, because it was so much less stressful, so much less difficult to try and get home in that rush of nerds all trying to get out the car park.
Oh gosh, the car park, it takes about an hour. So luckily I was lucky that the guys I travelled with were playing the Kill Team event, which ran later. So by the time we left, there was no one in the car park. I was just like, cool, swanning out at 6:30 going, look at this is nice.
So we that was round 1. As I say, sort of the game plan worked. I think I talked about it with Alex. And I said, look, the thing that would have scared me a lot more was Great Unclean One on each of the midfield. So I don't know if he made use of that going forwards, and obviously it depends on the matchup. It may not have been the answer, but it felt like the right way to go, because the lone op 18 or on the Great Unclean Ones is nice, but I wasn't shooting them anyway.
You just get your entire army within 18 and you're all in one place. It's straightforward. And then the other 2 objectives are yours. It's fine.
Yeah, that was it. So, turn 2 he came through, had one of the Great Unclean Ones on the middle objective, but then turn 3 he moved it off to go and chase down the units. I'd basically given up 1 unit of bikes, 1 unit of devs and 1 predator to sort of just hold that flank enough that he had to commit into it. And just, advancing the bikes right back into the back corner of my deployment zone, just so that I can then push out again on the following turn with 18 OC if you don't come and deal with them.
Because you don't care.
Just sort of drag him into the corner.
For him, he's relatively slow compared to what you can move, I suppose, as well, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the only one to watch with Plague Legion is you can add 5 to the movement on Plague Bearers. So that was the one I was just conscious of, because you can sort of buff a unit of Plague Bearers into the sun with like reroll wounds and extra.
Just shove it in,
extra damage, reroll wounds, lethal on 5s, and all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, there's real damage in a unit of Plague Bearers all of a sudden. So that was what I was conscious about, just trying to pick those guys up before they could activate too much. So we managed to get a win there. I think that was sort of like a 95-68, give or take. Nice. I've not written down the scores, but I scored reasonably well. And so round 2, I then had Oliver Logan, who plays for the Snake Eyes team, which I haven't heard of before today. And this was playing into Black Templars Gladius. So he had a single Rep-X and 2 impulsors for transporting units. He had a full unit of 6 Blade Guard with the Judiciar, 3 units of 4 Sword Brethren with a mixture of Marshals and Castellans. Some JPI, some Scouts, an Emperor's Champion was with one of the Sword Brethren units, and Helbrecht was in one of the Sword Brethren units. Nice. So it was very all in on melee. Obviously, playing Gladius, he has that turn of the whole army can advance and charge, or 1 CP, 1 unit can just sort of go. So I think I got a little bit lucky in term. So I went first on this one. It was nice to be able to use my scout move to move forwards for once. So I scouted up to engage his, because I wanted to try and draw out some of the Sword Brethren. While things are in transports, the activation locking you get of I've got to kill the transport and then still have enough to threaten the unit inside can be a little bit of an issue for the list. So I was like, right, okay, 1 unit. I'm just going to tow 1 bike onto his expansion objective, and he'll have to pop his advance and charge if he wants to come and get them. That was wrong, because I did not realise how fast the Emperor's Champion moves.
Oh, gosh.
He moves like 8 base, so when he jumps out of an impulsor, he's suddenly gone 11 inches. And it's, that's a little bit quicker than I thought he was. And, entirely on me, I should have asked the question.
Modern Marines have that extra speed, I found. Them and Space Wolves. And
Space Wolves, thankfully didn't have to play any Space Wolves on this one, but I play Black Templars again in a bit, and we see a similar thing. So I don't get suckered in with that nice. Same thing again.
It's all good.
I've learned, but I got a little bit lucky in. So I poked out 1 Predator to a point where I knew he could get the Rep-X to see it. But that was, if he went there, it meant I was pretty sure I could get 2 units of Dev Sense to drop in on my 2 and just nuke the Rep-X. And it was like, you've got 1 gun. If I can take away that gun, we can play an unbalanced game of Warhammer now, where I've got all the shooting and you've got none. And I got really lucky in that he left the Predator on 2 wounds as well. I was expecting that would be a sacrificial Predator. It was I think only one of the big guns hit. So it was like, okay, I'm going to fail the save. That's fine. It can't die to a single shot. And then we just very nervously rolled out all the stubbers and defensive array and heavy bolters and Icarus launchers.
Just desperately trying to get those extra 2 wounds. Oh gosh.
Yeah, the little corner I tucked back in cover paid out clutch. But yeah, so a little bit lucky there. I don't think it swung the game on that one. I think he did also fail. I think it was like a 7-inch charge with the Judiciarum Blade Guard that had come through one of his L's later in the game that would have probably really done some work into one of my bike squads that I was holding for like late game OC to just guarantee I could take away a lot of the. I think it was on round 3, so it meant that I was going to use them to deny him any primary on round 4. And if he makes that charge, he probably does get some more points. But I don't think it changes the result. I just think it changes the margin a bit. So I think this was about 100 to 68 again. So it was a relatively comfortable win by the end. But yeah, it was just because I took out the one gun that I was scared of fairly early on. I could move relatively within. I didn't have to worry about sightlines or anything. It was all just right. How fast can he go and hit me? And once he's sort of telegraphed where he can get to, I can play around that. And my ranges are a lot longer than his are. But yeah, it was a lovely game.
That kind of highlights your worry about not having enough of kind of the same units. So having the one, if you'd gone less predators and taken other stuff or taken less bikes, you might have had that similar situation yourself, right? If it's
exactly. So
one and done.
Yeah, so I don't think I'd drop the Predators, but I think, if I drop that 3rd unit of the Ravenwing Command Squad, but actually what I'm thinking to try and do, since you brought it up, drop one of the Grav Centurion squads, combine 2 of them into a single 6-man, because I found I was dropping the 2 of them that I held off the board together anyway, so I'm just going to go with the 6-man and mean that we get the full blast on the missiles every time. And what I was also finding is people were often like pulling themselves off the objective that was giving me the rerolls with the first squad, so the second squad didn't get it. So one big activation, all of the Gravs. I think I'll still leave it on the Grav for now. I think there's still enough vehicles in the meta that it's worth doing. But by dropping the command squad and the Grav devs and one of the hammer strikes, I can get a little bit more trash in there. But I can also drop in either 3 land speed of Vengeances, which is something I'm
super cheap.
With. Yeah,
more damage 3.
And with some real AP this time, which is why I don't mind giving up one of the hammer strikes, because AP 3 means I'm less worried about ignoring cover. I'm also going to try out a version of that slots in the Lion as well.
Very nice, because having that aura of rerolling ones to hit and wound just adds a layer of kind of consistency to you, right?
So there's that for the turn the bikes go in, you've got that option. Yeah, absolutely. We've got an invuln, so it just means so my ancients in those command squads had an awful tournament, because what happens is they overcharge almost every time. The ancient then takes 3 damage on an overcharge, then he dies because he's wounded. Then the apothecary brings him back, and we repeat. And I think we got up to a record of the ancient died 3 times in a few games. The same ancients. So poor guy. But yeah, I really like the idea of dropping in the line. We'll talk about it a little bit in round 4, I think it was, with the other Deathwatch game, where the plan with the line would be to be, again, it's relatively a gun line, and what I found is that usually your opponent can only push you in 1 or 2 places, but they get to pick where they push you. Whereas with the Lion's new abilities to uppy downy, it's like, okay, wherever you push, I'm going to rapid ingress and then heroic the Lion, and he's going to fight first, and now it's not worth you even trying.
Yeah,
and it just gives me that little bit more control.
Yeah, super survivable.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it maybe a bit more in round 4, but round 5 it was the Black Templars Gladius again, but this had the 20-man Crusader brick with Marshall and Castellan, so they're getting like lethal 5s. They've got +1 to wound from their oath. And they on a turn they went advance and charge. They picked up like 6 Centurions, a land speeder, and a unit of scouts. And that was mainly because I'd given up the unit of scouts to sort of form a wall so they couldn't touch the bikes and the predators behind them, because I want my damage 3. We'd given up the Centurions to pop the Rep X's. So the other Black Templars had 2 Rep X's. So it was very key that I take out 1 early at least, because there is just so many guns on those things. And Black Templars get full hit rerolls on theirs if they have another Black Templar unit within 12 of you. They have a different datasheet rule.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm near some scouts, so here's full rerolls.
Not the one.
Yeah, and it works in Overwatch as well. So it was
gosh.
actually a little bit limiting in terms of what I could do movement wise while they're both on the board. So I really wanted to just get rid of one. So I nuked it with the dev sense, and I also managed to do it early enough that I still had the 2 Preds in reserve for when the Sword Brethren squad get out. That was able to pick up the Sword Brethren.
Very cool.
I couldn't get to the characters in that unit. I just sort of killed the Sword Brethren down to the man. But yeah. But yeah, that was one where it was a case of I'm doing them out of order now. But yeah, this was the round 5 Black Templars. This was Lewis Archer from the Mind Goblins team.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, 3x5 Sword Brethren, 2x5 Scouts, 5 Intercessors, 2x5 JPIs, 2 Repex, the big 20-man Crusader blob, and the various Black Templar characters sprinkled in. Interesting, he doesn't take Helbrecht. He's sort of less of an auto take now, I think, with some of those rules getting spread out around the new characters, like the Crit 5s. So yeah, I did bait the Predator with bait the Repex with the Predator again, and again got lucky that it didn't die. And then yeah, as he pushed up, I sort of chipped the brick a bit, picked up the Repex. The Emperor's Champion squad does manage to go over and kill my scouting bikes, but it was the Judiciar squad that went.
Yeah.
No, Judiciar squad came in second. So Emperor's Champion went in first. Precision dev wounds on 5s into my champion in that bike squad. But what that meant was that the last model alive was the Apothecary rather than the champion. Normally has to be the last one you leave.
That's spicy.
But it also meant so he had 5 OC on that point with the squad, because one of the guys had to come around the side to base, and I still had the Apothecary on the squad, and in my turn resurrected the Ancient for OC6 and stole the point.
So that's great tech. I love that. When that works, it's great.
Yeah, so and it's one of those things where it's weird, like, so it made sense for him to activate his ability because he gets dev wounds on 5s. I got a little bit lucky that he only rolled 2 5s. But it just meant that I could leave the Apothecary last, whereas normally I'm locked to has to be the champion because he's the character in the unit, so you have to pull him last. So it just meant, actually I always want to leave the Apothecary till the end. You can't bring back the champion once he's gone. Yeah. So they were a 2-man unit, and all they did was fall back an inch and stay on that point to deny him primary for a turn. That was all I wanted them to exist for another turn and 2. So the brick came in, rinsed like 4 units in a turn, but then I still had 3 Predators and 3 Dev Sense left looking at it. So that the brick disappears very quickly after that. And at that point, he's got 1 Repex right over still near his home objective, and not a lot else left at that point. So it was sort of a mop-up game. And then round 4 we skipped over was Alex Gibbons and his Grey Knights Brotherhood Strike Force, which I hadn't actually seen on the table or TTS or anything before.
No.
So this is the one where the turn they come in from Deep Strut, or their uppy downy Grey Knights nonsense. They get reroll 1s to hit and reroll 1s to wound.
Nice.
And it's the first time in a long time I have seen a Venerable Dreadnought.
Oh, a little tiny boy. Nice.
Yeah, so in Grey Knight they give +1 to hit whatever they shoot. So he uppy downies with 2 of the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dread Knights, meaning they now hit on 2s, rerolling 1s and reroll 1s to wound. Makes them quite reliable at picking up at that point. So I was like, okay, that is a spicy little tech. He didn't have the best day, the poor Vendred. At turn 1 he overcharged and did 3 wounds to himself, and then didn't do an awful lot for 3 more turns, and then turn 4 a scout threw a grenade at him for 5 more wounds and killed him. I did feel bad. But yeah, it was an interesting list. So it was triple Grandmaster Dread Knight in Nemesis Dread Knight armor with all the melters and the side cannons. Yeah. A normal Grandmaster attached to 10 Grey Knight Terminators, so 1 big death brick. Because in that thing they've got strats to even if you tag them in combat, they can still do the Grey Knight pickup at the end of your turn.
That's neat.
And also, if you fall back from them, they can pick up and go back into reserve. So if they come in and batter a vehicle and that vehicle then falls back on 2 wounds or whatever, the Terminators then lift and don't get shot.
I don't like that.
I originally misread the strat and thought they could go up at the end of his combat phase, and I thought I'm never going to get to touch them, and then realised no, it's the end of my combat phase. Okay, there is some play here at least.
Yeah.
And then it was 2x5 strike marines, 2x5 interceptors, a navigator, and 10 navy breaches. It was a nice little 20 OC brick. So I got first turn on this one, zoomed the bikes up, thought, right, I'm going to try and shoot away the strike marines. They're going to stick his home. That had limited success. I only killed 2 or 3, even with all the overcharged plasma and oath, which was disappointing. But
that's a shame.
ones to wound do happen. And then we charged into the navy breaches, picked up 9 of the 10. Because I just saw that they're clearly his little OC bomb of late game. He's going to try and hold them, maybe expose 1 for a cleanse, die, and just kill him back behind the wall.
Yeah.
But then, so turn 4 or 5, they're just going to walk out 12, 14 OC onto the point and just go fine.
And he leaves the navigator on his home screening a 12-inch aura, right? Yeah,
12-inch screen, and it's already stickied from the strike marines as well, so he doesn't even have to stand on the point. But what the good thing about the bikes going up, even though we didn't quite kill the breaches or the strikes, I'd positioned them so that he either had to leave his dread knights on the board and shoot them to death, which he could have done, but then I'm already threatening his expansion with the rapid ingress squad. So he uppy downed over that way to try and shoot down the predator that I'd sent to sort of hold that space. And it meant that the 10-man Terminators were going to come and charge the bikes, which is what I wanted him to do, because where I'd put them, I had a nice little firing lane that I could get 2 Predators and a squad of Grav Centurions at.
Nice.
And just shoot back down that line. And to be fair to the poor guy, his saves were... I think I handed him 8 saves from the Grav into his Terminators, which is obviously AP1, ignoring cover, 3 up saves. He failed 5 out of the 8 I handed him. Which is... Not normal.
Around, right?
Yeah, should be the other way around. And so it just decimated that squad. And it was one of those things where there was an unfortunate little mistake in that he had to pull the apothecary out of the unit. Otherwise, I'd have had another predator able to activate into that unit because I could see the apothecary. So he had to pull that early. Yeah, so then it was after my turn 2. There was 1 guy in the Grandmaster left in that unit, and it's just I'm not scared of it anymore. Like it'll sting, but it's not going to wipe a unit of bikes. They charged into a speeder. It's not killing a speeder, really.
It's not like they're going to tag you either, because you can't be tagged realistically.
No, I can't be. Everything can fall back and shoot. The bikes can fall back and charge. If you get into combat with me, it's just free hits for me, really.
Yeah.
I think that, and then I say on that same turn, we dropped in the 2 units of Dev Sense on the side where he put the Grandmaster Dread Knights plus one of the ignore cover speeder plus another predator, and we picked up like one of the Grandmaster Dread Knights, dropped another one down to about 2 wounds. So at that point, it was I'd removed most of the threat on turn 2, and it was just about now. All right, well, we'll play for points and see what happens. And as I said, I don't think there was a huge amount different he could have done. I think again, I did say at the start, I got quite lucky with matchups. I got 4 rounds of Marines, which I'm quite good at killing Marines. And 1 round of Nurgle Demons, where actually turns out, other than Great Unclean Ones, I'm quite good at killing them as well.
Yeah.
And then the only other one we've not talked about was my round 3 was Deathwatch.
Yeah.
So Luke Cook from Ballers Brawlers. So he's running the proper Deathwatch Black Spear force, 2 big Indomitor teams with all the melters and heavy bolters and bolt rifles. One's got a Gravis Captain attached. A squad of 10 Deathwatch veterans with the Watchmaster. 3 Terminator squads with the triple missile launchers, because Deathwatch get better Terminators than we do, and I'm not salty about that at all.
Seems only fair. They're playing 9th edition, basically.
2x5 JPI, a Combi Lieutenant, 5 Infiltrators, and a Thunderstrike. He's got those Melter squads or the missiles he wants to be able to punch up into anything above T9. So this was one where he went second, which I did not want, because obviously his whole army can basically uppy downy with strats and things. I don't like that. That means he's going to score high on that primary bottom of game. So I had to be quite aggressive with it. So I'd shunted some bikes up the right hand side of the board. So we're playing Search and Destroy on this one. So table quarters. So 1 unit goes up the right hand side, and the scout unit went right up into his home unit. Shot some JPIs to death and charged into the Watchmaster squad.
Yeah.
Hindsight, that was a mistake. because what happened was I killed everyone in that squad except the Watchmaster and the 4 Heavy Thunderhammers.
And they just
And
lifted you back up in response, right?
Well, they left the champion alive on 2 wounds, I think it was, or something like that. And then obviously because they got a Watchmaster, they just fall back and charge back in, and the Watchmaster kills him. What I also hadn't realised was the is it the Osseous key? I can't remember what they call it. It's the Deathwatch enhancement where it's +1 like strength, attack, and damage, or strength, AP, and damage. So the Watch Spear was D3 +1. After it's killed my champion, it's now D3 +2 damage. It's AP 4 in combat.
Is that on the Watchmaster?
Yeah.
That's Thief of Secrets was the
That's the one. Thank you.
That's all right.
But yeah, so I hadn't realised that every time he kills a character, he gets stronger.
Oh no!
So maybe shouldn't have fed him a character turn 1 to make him better at killing.
Oh, you want that on a Judicia? That'd be sick.
Yeah, that would be. I made a couple of mistakes in this one. So I also I was going to screen out the middle with the speeder, and then decided no, actually, I really want to get the angle so that the speeder can shoot. So I advanced it across, and it meant that he was able to rapid ingress one of his Terminator units onto one of the middle objectives on hidden supplies, and I was trying to hold him to zeros on primary. I got really lucky that I then made an 11-inch charge with a bike unit to go and take the objective back. I think points-wise at the end, it probably would have been okay if I hadn't, because actually that bike unit then killed like 2 Terminators, lost a bike back, and then the Watchmaster unit connected into that unit and just picked it up. So actually 5 points for those bikes. I don't know if that's necessarily the best trade. I made it in full knowledge, but in hindsight, maybe not. But what I saw fairly early on is that actually most of his mobility is tied to Uppy Downy. He's not actually very quick on the table. So what it meant was that I was using my Combi Lieutenant and my scouts to scouts advancing up to touch just, an inch outside of his L, so he can't drop onto either, and a Predator holding my expansion objective with a gun poking out, so it can still shoot. But I needed to screen the objective so he can't drop on them.
Yes.
And what that meant was I don't think he scored primary until round 5 with him going second, and even then he only got a 10.
Which is what you need, because otherwise he gets that 15-point swing plus secondaries. You're in doo-doo if you're not careful.
Yeah, I know. I mean, those Deathwatch Indomitor teams are ridiculously killy. It's the bit where I hadn't, he says, I'm going to fire 2 heavy bolters at you, and you think, oh, this is fine. And then you realise, no, they're lethal, sustained, and strength 7 because you're the nearest unit. And, oh, by the way, they're damage 3.
Yeah.
That's not a heavy bolter. That doesn't sound like a heavy bolter in any of its profile.
Sounds like he's using your weapons against you almost.
Yes, how dare he? But again, it was a lovely game. It was a really tactical game. It was like trying to just keep enough stuff alive that I could keep him screened off those objectives till the end. And I think one of the big ones as well is that I shot down one of the Indomitor teams with the captain attached, killed 5 of them with Dev Sense and a speeder. And then when he went to push them up, I went with the Overwatch, and I only killed 1 more. But what that meant was on round 4, he had to take Battle Shock, and he failed it.
And can they up you down if they're Battle Shocked?
No, because it's a strap.
Yeah.
So he had a Gravis captain to make the Uppy Downy free, but he couldn't target that unit, so he couldn't make it free. So he had to spend his only CP there, and the Grav captain's free strat was irrelevant because it can only target his unit who's Battle Shocked.
Nice.
So it was, one of those things where it wasn't. I was mainly just trying to thin out the unit of terrifying 3-wound models, but it was also, it worked really nicely. Get them below half. They're a lot less scary when there's half as many shots coming out of them, and Battle Shock is a thing.
Oh gosh.
So those were the 5 games. Went really well. Really happy with how I played into those. Obviously excited to get to go and play a Top Cut game. Very much did go into this thinking, okay, we're into the top. I think it was 32 went 5-0, give or take. And obviously a few of those couldn't then stay for the next game. So I think about 26, 28 of us played round 6. In fact, no, 27 because we had a bye. Chris Langford's Demons, because he'd scored basically 100 points in every game, got to skip round 6.
Fair enough.
Seems fair. And yeah, so me and Will turn up at the table. So Montcar Tau, so he's got 2 Riptides, he's got 3 Pathfinders, 1 unit infiltrates, and then 2 are scouting inside Devilfish.
Yeah.
2 Ion Heads, one of which starts off the board, and then he's a Ghost Keel, 3 triple broadsides with missiles. And that they just sort of sit on his home objective for 2 turns until I dare to poke out and give them a target. Shadow Sun, Firesight team, and then Trash. So we had like 10 Carnivores, 5 Vespid, 5 Hounds, a War Shaper, and a Crutox Rider. And they were just, infiltrate, be on the objectives, turn 1, terraforming, and because we play round 1 again for round 6. And what I found is that, so we'd been talking about Montcar Tau at dinner the night before.
Because it's scary.
On our team, obviously, is a Tau player, and he was excited about what it could do. And so what I was told was by some of the guys before they left was make sure you get if you can get the first scout drop, you can sort of screen it out. You can, not on that board, you can't. there is too much space that needs screening. I think there are quite a few things I could have done better. So I did my usual thing of 1 speeder, 1 bike, and 2 dev cents off the board to try and keep them relatively safe. I should have kept as much, everything but the bike should have been on the board just to be able to hit him. Because all of his army that could shoot shot. Yeah. So I wouldn't have lost any more than I did. And it meant that I'm now 2 squads of dev cents light for shooting back. Yeah. And weirdly, that's done. So yeah, the 2 Riptides get Scout from the enhancement on his Firesight. So they start relatively exposed, but they can scout backwards if he goes second, but obviously he goes first, so they scout forwards. 1 rolls a 5 on the advance, the other one gets an auto 6, so they are just there on sort of coming down the right. If you're looking at the sort of UKTC map, I'm at the bottom, he's coming down the right hand side, so they can just see right everything into my big L, right, my entire deployment zone basically. And then the 3 units of Pathfinder, so the infiltrating one that were on the middle objective, just come through the wall. And then the 2 Devilfish advance and just drop 2 units of Pathfinders, blocking me into my deployment zone. Basically, I'm not getting out. We both basically said we want to jail each other in, and he got to go first, so he did it. So I think first thing that activates is a Riptide with rerolls from Shadow Sun, and it just picks up a Predator on its own. Oh, no. 2 lethals, 3 wounds, hands me 5 saves, hands me 3 saves and 2 sets of dev wounds, because he's popped it, and it's Predator just goes goodbye. Another one kills 4 bikes. Pathfinders finishes off that bike unit. The other 2 Pathfinders pick up the other bike unit that had scouted backwards to try and hide. So I'm down 650-ish points at the start of going into my turn 1. So I pick up 1 of the Pathfinder units, I pick up 2 of the Riptides, both the Riptides I should say, but again, similar to my list, none of his stuff can be tagged in combat. Ghost Keels and Shadow Sun can just fall back and do things, so it wasn't enough. I didn't have enough on the board to do enough damage, so the 2 units of Pathfinders that I couldn't engage shot me again. The Ion Head that was on the board poked out. The other one came in from Strat Reserves. They both shoot. I lose the 3rd unit of bikes. And then I'm able on my 2 to drop in the dev sense. And I can, I pick up the missile sides. I pick up both the hammerheads. At this point, he doesn't have a lot left. But I've had to drop my dev sense in my deployment zone.
Not nice.
And bear in mind, I think it was turn 2. He had some Crew Hounds terraform my home objective.
Oh, and then you can't turn that off.
You can't turn it off because you can't do it on your own objective. But I think it was round 2 and round 3 he scored 20 points of primary with the terraforms and the holding 3 objectives. So it was just, I was able to score sort of like 15 primary on turns 4 and 5. I was able to sort of come back. I think I scored about 65 points in the end. It's not an awful score, but he'd 100 pointed by, I think he had 95 points going into round 5. Pulled Sabotage and said, cool, done.
Do you think if you'd gone first, it could have swung the other direction, or do you think his list just could handle you either way?
And I think if I go first, those Riptides have to scout backwards instead of forwards.
Yeah.
So they're not getting those angles. I think I commit my scout unit of bikes up and I clear him off all the middle objectives, so no terraforms happen. My combi lieutenant terraforms the middle, my scouts terraform my expansion. And then when he does push out on that turn, and he probably picks up the bikes, the scouts, and maybe maybe still gets the angle on the predator and picks it up. I don't think so with that scout moves, but hard to go back.
Yeah.
But then I've already started scoring points, and I'm able to then drop in the dev sense sort of further up the board, so that I'm not locked into my own deployment zone. I'm able to maybe actually go and threaten his home objective with the rapid ingress bikes and things like that. So I think it's certainly a lot more of a game, and I think we both talked it through, and we both said I think whoever goes first wins. And then I rolled a 1, so
yeah. Well,
not
both
the
of your
right
lists
number.
kind of have that same approach, right? Of just early game pressure to just force them to not be doing what they want to do.
Yeah, early game pressure with a devastating amount of shooting behind them.
Yeah.
Things like the Riptides going to strength 10 on their overcharge now, so they're wounding the bikes on 2s, whereas previously they were strength 8, strength 9, so it basically had +1 to wound given to all his Riptides into my army.
Yeah. I guess he's got more stuff as well, general like chaff compared to what you're listening
to. The Hounds, the Vespid, the Carnivores, the Lone Op Warshaper, the Firesight team, and the Crutox Rider. So they're all very, very cheap units that I don't really have good answers for, because anything I put into them is an overcommitment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my mistake was I think I probably could have hidden that Predator slightly better to have another asset going into my 1. And I think the 2 units of Dev Sense that started off the board and the Speeder should have been on the board. And I think that means I can clear all of the Pathfinders and the Riptides turn 1, which means I'm no longer jailed from after turn 2, which means I can probably push out quicker, and on turn 3 I can undo his terraforms and I can actually start scoring points earlier. So whereas if he scored 95 points before Battle Round 5 happens, I have to score 100 or lose at that point. And unfortunately, with being held to like it's terraform, so I'd got 4 points for holding my home objective on turn round 2 and 3. So I had like 8 primary to his 40 going into round 4. It's just there's not a lot you can do at that point. It was a shame as well, because I looked at the other lists. So Will then went on to lose to Liam VSL in the next round, who obviously went on to win.
Who?
Yeah. I have seen that people are starting to call it the LGT.
Oh God. His head must be swelling at that.
Yeah. I mean, if you win it 3 times in a row, you know what? Fair enough.
And not with the typical thing that everyone's expecting.
No. Yeah, it's someone who very much he obviously he is a bit of a faction specialist with CSM. He knows what they can do. He can eke every little ounce of power out of all of those units, and knows all the little the 2 strats in your detachment that you never really remember to use because they're so niche. But actually, every one game in 3, all of a sudden, that's a really useful one to have now. But yeah, so had I managed to go and beat Will, presumably I probably would have got the same draw, and I'd have got taught a lesson by Liam. So I don't think it cut me too short. But yeah, I had a look around the other lists. I think other than if I match into like an Innes or a Liam or someone, then okay, I'm probably not winning it. But I think I actually had more of a game into list to list. I had more of a game into just about anything else other than Will's Town.
That's unfortunate, but that's the way this stuff works, right?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I'd had some fortune. Poor Harley pulled Ben Jones. What was it, round 2 or something?
Yeah.
I didn't. None of my opponents were easy games. None of them were just sort of handing me units on a plate and doing something stupid that they shouldn't do. But I didn't hit any of the sort, the big names, the people that you sort of expect to see in the top cut before I got into the top cut.
Yeah,
which is always nice.
And each of your matchups, there was a theme that there was a lot of power armor, and if they did
a lot of power armor,
vehicles,
a lot of 3 wounds. And a lot of the vehicles were 3-up saves, not 2-ups, which guard is often a tricky matchup for me if I can't pop a Dawn relatively early.
Yeah,
because
you didn't go to the Shadow Sword list that I did.
Yeah, I mean the Shadow Sword list that would have been an interesting one. Yeah, it's like because are they 12 or 13 toughness on the Shadow Sword?
I want to say 13. I just remember it being a pain in the backside, but the line said hello.
Yeah, and again, that is why I want to try and drop him into this. You know, I think I drop one unit of the grab devs and one of the bikes, and he still offers me that brawling ability of the bikes and vehicle popping ability of the grab devs. But he also offers me that rapid ingress heroic play that doesn't or even just the I'm going to rapid him onto a point, you know, on a hidden suppliers type map or something like that. Or he's still within 3 of the combat lieutenants, so he's still low up.
Yeah.
And if you want to throw 5 JPI at him, be my guest.
Cool. He'll just shrug half of those impact hits as well. So it's just
and then decapitate some JPIs.
Yeah. It's very solid because people go, oh well, I might do well into him, and you go, no, because I even had it in my guard matchup where he threw 6 Bullgrin into him and 5 of them died. Shouldn't have happened, but it did.
I was going to say 2 or 3 is more the average there. I think,
was lucky and 5 went because he just didn't make saves, but just. It's those situations that he's so
4 up invul, they drop him to damage 3 with their -1 damage, and then they got feel no pain, so they can tank multiple.
Should have, but it didn't.
No,
it was just awful.
No, it's the same with the Paul Grey Knight Terminators, where you're at a 2-up save into AP1, you're feeling good about it, and then you fail 5 out of 8 of them, and you just go, oh, okay, I'll just scoop them.
So outside of just the lion being kind of shoehorned in, what else are you thinking?
So I think it's a decision on either we bring in the lion to give us that ability to deal with combat pressure a little bit better, or we just lean full shooty and go, you know what, I might just screen you out with land speed of vengeances that are shooting you, and you can go and pick one up, but it's only 120 points, and then I can see you and shoot you with the predators and the devs that are behind it. So I'm going to give both of them a little test game. I do have some little friends on the painting desk, some new Raven Guard characters.
Oh, nice.
So my Darkangels are all painted black and red, sort of heresy scheme. So I have in the past.
That's the way.
Yeah, absolutely is. So I have in the past run Ultramarines Vanguard with Calgar and the Dev Sense and the Eradicator Brick with Calgar and. I've been building some custom Vanguard vets with some of the Cromlech Road Intercessor bodies.
Oh, nice.
So I've got like 20 of those, all with shields. So I now need to find some Inferno pistols. But that is the other thing that I might think about. But I think going into London, my plan was I'll do London with this, and then I'll flip to Raven Guard for Coventry. Yeah. Having found that this list does sort of have the legs to do what it did, I'm thinking maybe I give this a bit more time and focus, and I can then still paint the Vanguard vets and the Raven Guard guys.
Exactly, have it ready.
They're quite fun ones to paint. But I think while this list is sort of feasting well, seems silly to sort of change it wholesale.
And build on that experience, right? Because
how
does it handle the Raven Guard itself? Does it prey on that quite well, would you say?
I think it can do, because I think the Centurion battle is interesting, but I think so. The trick is with this list and into the Raven Guard is that you don't want to have too many things on objectives if you can get away with it, or you want to be like sort of safe behind walls.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I want to try and free up some points is maybe those scouts and that invader ATV actually become incursors and intercessors. So I often found it difficult. Yeah, so the invader can sticky for a CP, but I often found myself not having that CP available when I wanted it.
Azrael to give you the freebie.
Yeah. And the incursors. So at the moment, I'm going to have the 6 brick of devs. They re-roll into an objective, or it's 3s re-rolling 1s if not, and you can sort of live with that. You've got Oath of Moment into a target for, say, the Predators, as an example. And then what I'm trying to get in is just 1 squad of incursors to trigger the +1 to hit for a 3rd shooting threat, whether that is the bikes or whether that is land speed of vengeances or something. If I can get 2 in there, I think there is a version with the land speed of vengeances where I get. I'll tell you what, I'll pull it up because I've already started list crafting. Obviously,
gives the +1 to wound as well. So
there is a Thunderstrike. So at the moment, I can't quite make that fit. I like the thought of it. What I would have done is probably drop 1 of the vengeances of the 3 to get that, but it's 30 points more. It's 150 for the Thunderstrike.
It's got value.
Yeah.
The one unit that screams out to me that might have a place, but maybe not, was I really enjoy Azrael with the Stern Guard, and giving them advance and shoot is just nice because their assault already So having it on the heavy bolter, you're not having to spend CP, I guess.
Well, and Asriel as well doesn't naturally advance and shoot. So you get the 4 normal bolters, but this way Asriel and the heavy bolter are always activating. I do like that as well. That isn't a bad shout. The only thing that limits me on that is that they can't get advance and charge.
Yes.
Because it's only for the bikes.
So good normally.
Yeah, like I also have a Gladius list which has both the Lion and the Asriel Stone Guard brick, and I've actually got Samael with some Outriders in there,
which is also very fun.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing you could do. The problem you have with this that I don't like Samael massively without some aspect of +1 to wound.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the +1 to wound in this detachment is really limited. So it's +1 to wound in shooting or fighting, which is quite nice to be able to do it on the plasmas of the Black Knights.
Yeah.
But +1 to wound, shooting or fighting, if with a mounted unit only.
Yeah.
If you target an infantry or mounted character unit.
Which is, there is a lot of character units that are infantry, but
it's not usually what you want the +1 to wound into.
No, normally it's something tough. Yeah,
you want +1 to wound into monsters, into tanks, into heavier things, and usually Space Marine infantry sort of caps out at T6, maybe T7 if we're talking sense. So I'm already wounding it on 3s. You'd want it into knights and things like that.
Yeah, that sucks. That's frustrating. I can get it.
Yeah, so it's one of those where I did use it a couple of times, but not often.
It was nice to give you a win more in the situation, I imagine, rather than it being like every game.
Yeah, it was more a let's just reduce the variance here a little bit. Yeah. Like I should kill you. +1 to wound says I do kill you, rather than I don't know if I'm going to get you or not. I'll spend the +1 so that I should.
That's what you need, right? For that consistency to get the victory. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a thing of, because I keep toying with Gladius, and you've still got the access to advance and shoot, fall back and shoot in that detachment, just not necessarily all the time. Yeah. But the problem there is that you don't have the enhancements for the scout and for the turn 1 rapid, which means that actually, fitting 18 bikes in your deployment zone doesn't work. Have tried, doesn't work. Yeah. You need 6 off the board being able to cut, but you also need that flexibility of if you play into World Eaters and they just run at you, you need to be able to bring all your assets to bear. Otherwise, you're not going to have the damage to kill them before they make contact, and there don't have to be a lot of World Eaters left after they make contact. Everything they touch just dies.
Yeah. Especially with those big 20 bricks that can just go.
Yeah, it's why I also quite like the idea of a Vindicator in the list somewhere, of something that you can just put a park in front of that 20 brick, because they have to go into the nearest unit. So you put a Vindicator 1 inch away, shoot them with probably the devs, the scent devs, and just try and kill as many as you can. Then they surge and they have to go into the Vindicator, and then the Vindicator says, cool, I can still shoot you and I don't care. And you're also probably not killing me in combat because you don't count as charging. So you don't get the +2 strength.
No charge bonus.
Yeah. And from what I understand, the surge move isn't optional. So if you park something they don't want to be in combat with in front of them, and you just say, well, you're going to have to hit it now. And by the way, there's a CP waiting here for Armor of Contempt for when you activate.
Oh, that's sad trombone noises, isn't that? Oh, love it. Cool. So I look forward to seeing how you get on with Coventry and which list you settle on as well, because that's fascinating. I think there's clearly a good few different variations of this list alone, let alone you going to different detachments or even going to other chapters. And I think that's really cool, Ben. And I just look forward to seeing if you get to the top cut there now.
Coventry doesn't do a top cut. Everyone plays 8 rounds.
Oh gosh, yeah, because it's a 3-dayer, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm doing the 3-day one.
Oh, you mad lad! You're just like, I'll just have Friday off. I'll have Monday off, and I'll just take the whole thing. Like, why not? Yeah. That's exciting, man. I'm really excited for it. I'm so glad to see this list do well for you as well. Because watching you kind of develop it, because obviously you found the list in the States, but seeing you in our Discord and our WhatsApp chat just talking about this consistently, I looked at it and went, that's not for me. I don't own most of that stuff, and also I just don't understand.
Yeah.
To me, it was different enough to what I'm used to. And I was like,
I'm lucky enough that I've been collecting Darkangels for that long that I usually have 2 or 3 of most units.
Yeah.
So I think to make this list work, I had to convert a 3rd command squad, because I had 2 built and painted, But all my command squads are converted Outriders anyway. They've got the Plasma Talons off the original Black Knights, because I had a lot of the old Black Knights. They're still in a box somewhere, but they've all had the Plasma Talons ripped off for the conversions.
I've got 18 in a box.
Yeah. And then they've all got... I've got one with the traditional Ravenwing banner, and then two of them have got the Inner Circle banners, because I quite like those. And they're less fiddly to paint, because then you just... They just sort of paint them gold and wash them and you're done, instead of having to try and paint a proper banner. And so I think I had to convert that, and I bought 3 more Scent Devs, because I already had 6 from when I was running the Vanguard list in previous. But like the Speeders I've had from before, the Predators I've had from, I think when the Heresy tanks came out, they were a bit cheaper than the normal ones. So I've got, so they're three Dimos Preds. I've got 3 of the old, or the 30k Predators, not Predators, Vindicators. I've had to print out some siege shields for them, because they they don't come with siege shields on those ones, and there's quite a difference in model size without them. But yeah, I think I've been playing Darkangels now for 15-ish years, something like that. So just building the collection over time, it just means Ballistices have just been nerfed. I need to drop something else in. Well, you know what else is 140 points as a Predator?
Yeah.
I've got 3 of those painters.
It's like, I'll just pivot my las cannon platform to a different one.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I miss the Ballistas reroll sometimes, but there is just something about Ballistases and failing to wound. I don't know what it is. I feel like maybe I just notice it more, but
yeah, because it's a single shot or 2 shots or whatever. It ends up being like you just see it, because it's that one dice that you think, it's on 3s, so like on averages you probably should see it hit win more often. But
yeah. All right, well, thank you very much for having me, Scrivo.
Yeah, no worries. Right, and obviously, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully this was insightful. It was for me. Now I'm probably going to go and build a new command squad. Don't forget to like the video down below. Don't. I've got all the bits, because I've got so many Black Knights. I've got all the banners and stuff, so maybe some Outriders. But we are hearing rumours that they might be in the next edition. We get a refresh on Ravenwing, so I'm excited if that is the case, because my 9th edition lists with that. I'm looking at my Talon Master up on my shelf up there. I'm just thinking, maybe he'll come back. I've got 3 jetpack ones.
I converted them out of Forge World Javelin land speeders.
Oh, I was this close to doing one myself, and then the beginning of the edition, they went, I was like, thank God.
Yeah, with the the 7th Ed Company Master Balthazar at the Dark Vengeance box, so that with the power sword like that up in the speeder.
We'll have to put some pictures on the socials of that, because that's stuff that needs to be shared, man.
Oh, they are in deep storage now that they're legend, but I could probably dig them out somewhere.
Yeah, man. Cool. So thank you guys. Don't forget to hit like, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, it really helps us. We try to do lots of Dark Angel videos. I'm sure Ben will be back on, because he keeps doing crazy things with the army, and I love celebrating the innovation, because if we're just going to do videos about me playing Stormlance, you're all going to get a bit bored. So until next time, guys, take care.